I'm Aggie Park. I was born in Indonesia, grew up in Germany, have lived in Seattle, the Bay Area, Arizona, and then I'm living in Simi Valley, California right now. People can find me on my Instagram, which is Aggie underscore poured out for Jesus. And then TikTok is Aggie poured out for Jesus. And I'm also the co-host of season 8 of the Erasing Shame podcast. So, and I'm planning to do my own podcasting soon. So stay tuned.
First and foremost, congratulations. And I know that when you start your podcast, it is going to be absolutely amazing. So I can't wait until that happens.
Oh, thank you.
So take us from the very beginning of your journey. How did you get involved in the work you're doing and why?
You mean the podcasting or yeah,
Well, the
the podcast.
podcasting as well as anything that you've been able to overcome so
Right,
far.
right. Why? That's a long process. Okay, so I guess long story short, I didn't really grow up in the most normal family. I come up from a very broken family. I didn't get to see my dad for the first time in person till I was 6 or 7 years old. I don't think my mom really wanted me. I just remembered her physically present but emotionally absent, and there was just a lot of physical and emotional abuse growing up. But Jesus saw me in my pain and he had so much mercy on me that my mom and my dad remarried when I was 7. That's when I first saw my dad. And my dad gave me a kind of love that I never thought that I could receive, like this kind of respect and just dignity that he treated me with. Um, and that also showed me like, wow, like the Father's heart, our Heavenly Father's heart, that no matter what the pain is, like he's always a redeemer. And so fast forward, um, going to college, because I come from a very broken family, I had a very broken view of myself, a lot of I guess low self-worth. So looking back, like almost all of my ex relationships were also abusive because the body stores trauma. So even though it is painful, you know it is painful, but because it's so familiar to you, you just cling on to it. So I just remember like almost all of my past relationships were abusive. But I remember this one dude that he had also a gambling problem on top of that. And younger stupid me, I gave him, my tuition money, and my dad found out and he got really pissed. And so he took my password away, and for a year, I was just like so hopeless. I think that's one of the darkest, most hopeless moments of my life, because I was in Indonesia, back then. And going to college in the US. But because he took my passport away, I couldn't go back to the US and finish college. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, can't finish college, can't go anywhere. Basically, he had me on house arrest for a year. And I was in so much pain that I just ran away, which is not my nature. But I guess if you're in pain, you just do things that you usually don't do. Um, so I was just moving around houses to houses, my ex-boyfriend's house, mom's house, my grandparents' house, my aunt's house. But then one day my aunt said, you still want to go to college back to the US? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, well, go back to your dad's house. I was like, what? My dad's house? What is it gonna do to me? It's gonna kill me, right? But, God always knows. He already can see the future. So on that day that I returned to my dad's house, he actually gave me my passport back. And so my aunt just helped me to get the student visa and all that. And she just gave me, I remember, I think it was about $2,000. She booked the flight and she's like, here, don't worry. Like, we're gonna figure this out. You just fly. So I was literally on the plane, don't know where I'm gonna live, don't know how everything's gonna work out, but God is always faithful. 3 days before college started, he placed me in a home where the landlord was either pastor or an elder, I forgot. Um, but yeah, it's just like, wow, Lord, I see now your fingerprints all over my life. Like, if I didn't come from a broken family, I wouldn't have those abusive relationships. That 1 year delay wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have been housed in a house of prayer, covered in prayer and love. And so yeah. And then fast forward now, crazy story of being a co-host of the Erasing Shame podcast, which is so crazy. Like, God is just so funny, like erasing shame, literally. Like, I had so much shame growing up, but just God put me in a place where He not only erased my shame, but He allows me to give a platform to people to erase their shame and have their voice back. So that's kind of my story.
Thank you for sharing that. And shame for a lot of people can either be a teacher, you can learn from it, or it can be torturous and you continue to experience pain as a result. When you're looking
Mhm.
back, Aggie, on the shame that you mentioned, and now that you're working towards erasing that, how much of an impact do you think this shame had on you back then as you're looking back on it?
Man, it had a lot of impact, and I just realized it now growing because I don't know, I think growing up, especially as Asians, we're not taught to like process our emotions and we're more like performance based growing up. So like looking back now, I see like how it really impacted me and it's still impacting me. Like I still fall into like low self-worth and depression sometimes, like God is still healing me. So yeah, like I think really like our actions really have a very impactful like impact on people, especially like parents to kids or yeah, especially if you're young. You just absorb the whatever words and whatever however people treat you. That's how you view yourself.
I think you're 100% right. And you mentioned something when you said, like, when you were young. I look back on my childhood and the things that I didn't have growing up.
Mm.
As I got closer to adult, I was searching for them. I wanted people to
Mhm.
tell me that I was successful. I wanted people to
Yes.
tell me that I was good, doing a good job. Fortunately
Mhm.
for me, I didn't get into too much trouble, just a little bit,
Yeah.
but not too much trouble. But I think from like a man's perspective and a woman's perspective, when you mention relationships, it's interesting
Mhm.
that even though we're so much alike in so many ways, we're so different that men, when they're falling victim to
Mm.
maybe some of their childhood trauma, they would
Mhm.
seek out, let's say, like violence, gangs,
Mm.
things like
Yeah.
this, right?
Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
women, they will seek out problematic relationships,
Yeah.
abusive partners, things
Mhm.
like that, right? So when you were able to separate from all of that, how surprised were you that you fell into difficult relationships as you were trying to work through your journey?
I think while I was in it, I didn't really realize that it was bad for me, that it was hurting me. But now looking back, I was like, oh, it's because that's what I'm used to. That's what like you said, like the things that we didn't receive as a kid as we should from our parents, we look in someone else and something else, right? And so I was so desperate for love that I was looking at in all the wrong places. So that's why, yeah, I was like, no matter how abusive that dude is, at least I have somebody that I think they love me. That makes sense. A very broken view of love.
I think that's 100% makes sense. Like it's like the book The Five Love Languages, right? Like you want that quality time, you want that word of affirmation, you want receiving gifts, you want that physical touch. Like you just want someone who you identify as your safety and your security, which is mom and dad or your parents.
Yeah.
And when
Mhm.
they don't give it to you, that person down the street that says, Aggie, you look nice today. Oh my God, me? Like, it's
Yeah, yeah,
something that kind of could catch you off guard, right? Because you're like, I'm not used to this. It feels nice, but it's coming from an
yeah.
unknown source,
Mhm.
right? Like, when you're maybe speaking to other people about what you've gone through, and you mentioned your faith, which I
Mhm.
think is a fantastic foundation for a lot of people to have because I know how much it's impacted me positively. What are some of the stigmas that maybe you want to break about having religion, faith, God, whatever it is you want to call it, in your
Mhm.
life to help you through some of your darker moments in life?
Um, let's see. I think like Jesus really helped me to gain the correct view of myself. Um, because like, as I mentioned, growing up low self view because of how I was treated. But the thing with Jesus is like he loves you no matter what. Like there's this unconditional love and unconditional like self-worth because it's not based on what we have done or who we are but in whose we are. So it's like surrendering all of our pain of our all of our mistakes and shame and everything that is filthy, and then he gives us his perfect righteousness. So I've learned and I'm still learning that it's so much heavy burden has been lifted if we don't depend on ourselves, on our own strength, or on anything of us because we're so broken, because people have hurt us from so many different angles. But when we surrender everything to Jesus and He gives us His perfect view and His perfect love, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like a heavy burden has been lifted off, and you live in so much peace and freedom that this world